come one, come all, those short, those tall. There may be some clowning around, but you'll get an earful all in all. No need for waivers, no need for saviors. Don't be frightened, do not hide. Enter now and enjoy the ride. So step right up, those far and near. The attraction is set. It's Ear for Fear.
Hi, welcome to the Ear for Fear podcast. This is the podcast that talks about scary movies or movies trying to be scary. I'm Rick. I got Darren in the house, one of the creeps.
What's up, fool?
Hopefully everyone enjoyed that new intro.
Hell yeah.
Produced and edited and created and all that other stuff by Mr. Sleepy D himself, Darren. I think it came out pretty good.
Yeah, I think good.
Yeah, of course that's Morris with the, I don't know, with the voice,
the ringleader voice.
The ringleader voice. I don't know. Maybe you guys recognized it. Maybe you didn't. But yeah. So that came out pretty good. So enjoy it.
I had fun doing that one.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was the first time I've ever done circus music.
I don't know, man. I think we do this right occasionally. Every 9 months or a year, we get an itch and we're like, hey, let's do a new intro.
Yeah.
And we do it because we can.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and that was a good one, dude. I mean, the idea that you had, the whole premise of like, starting out as kind of whimsical circus, thing, yeah. And then it kind of devolves into kind of a creepy thing. It's kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, it came out good.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing that. Today, you and I are going to be chatting 2022's M3GAN. All right, so M3GAN 2022. It's interesting. I mean, did it come out? I thought it came out this year. I think it's one of those things where it gets filmed, right? And then it's 2022.
Oh, you think that's why it's
the only thing I can think of, because I know you and I went and saw it in January.
It was 2023.
And I thought it just came out, but maybe it'd been out a couple weeks. Maybe it came out like the end of 2022.
I wonder if I can look that up.
Yeah. This is kind of what is this? I think James Wan and his was one of the writers on this. Atomic Monster, I think, was one of the companies that did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you recommended this one.
I did.
Because you and I went and saw it in January.
We did.
And we both really liked it. And we're like, we should do an episode right now. And
I know we did.
I was like, damn it, I can't believe that was. I mean, that was so that's 3+ months ago.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I can't believe we're. Damn. I mean, this year is flying by.
It is already like what you call it, the middle of April.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, by the time this comes out, I'll be further in because we always record everything in advance. And your ass is going to be leaving to Texas here soon.
Yeah.
So we figured we'd get this one in. And then for the next one, you'll be calling in from Texas.
From Texas.
Yeah.
I'll be saying the y'alls.
The y'alls.
What's up, y'all?
Do you want to do a quick synopsis, or would you like me to partake in that?
Well, you could do it and I'll tag onto it or something.
I think this one's pretty simple, right? A robotics engineer at a toy company builds a lifelike doll for her niece that begins to take on a life of its own.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems pretty
straightforward.
Right.
This is supposed to be like the pinnacle of AI. There's the whole robotics part of it, but her whole, I think, massive contribution to that was the AI, the actual algorithm, the thing that like it was like this learning algorithm that's supposed to, I don't know.
I guess before we jump into it and start, let's do full spoilers.
1, 2, spoilers coming for you.
Because that was what, at least in the movie, that was what they were saying. There's like most of the time with these sorts of things, when you try to interact with an AI like that, it just has a predefined set of things it can say.
Yeah.
But her version of it, her whole software and algorithm, was a learning thing. So it would take experiences and then it would adapt to it so that it would be able to do something new or respond in ways that, wouldn't.
Sure. I mean, I think, right, the idea here is the doll pairs with the individual. So then it learns all the ins and outs of that, say, child. Because really, it's, I mean, I guess if you had some adults out there that wanted to drop 10 plus grand on this doll, they would do it. And I'm sure there'd be a couple weirdos that would. But specifically, this was supposed to be for a child.
That was cracking me up with that. Was it the CEO?
Yeah, David.
David? Yeah. I remember when he said on that one scene, he's all more or less expensive than a Tesla. And she responded, well, it depends on the model.
Yeah. Oh, that was pretty good. I thought he played a pretty good kind of an a-hole CEO, I don't know, very stereotypical, I guess, maybe. I mean, I'm not saying all of them are like that, but come on. I think when push comes to shove, it's all about money, production, Yeah, he played a really good, convincing CEO of a toy company like that. Because I mean, for sure.
It's what they was. It was like a toy company.
Funky.
Which
I thought was hilarious. I'm sure it was just kind of I don't know, I'm not going to say a rip-off of Funko, but I mean, that's a toy company.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. Is Funko the ones that make those little
pops?
Those
little
pop
Funko
things?
Pop?
Yeah, I don't.
Never been into collecting those.
Me neither. I don't have any. I don't know. I know some people just love them and they get serious about it. I've never understood the fascination. I love little figures, but I like ones that just have more detail and stuff in them. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
But
felt bad for the little girl, right out of the
Katie.
gate, she's
they didn't waste any time.
No, they did not. She's in the car with her parents. They're doing a ski trip and I don't know, her little toy thing.
Oh, the perpetual pet.
Perpetual pet.
Perpetual. I thought that was kind of cool though, the way it's spelled perpetual pet. Yeah.
Things kind of go all sideways in the car. She I don't know. Didn't they slam on the brakes because of something?
Yeah, I think they were they're doing a ski trip, right? And it was snowing, and they didn't have chains. They thought it was a four-wheel drive, and it wasn't. But I think they slammed on the brakes.
Yeah, that caused the perpetual pet to go flying off the seat. She gets out of her seatbelt.
Yeah.
A bunch of chaos. Mom's going what was her name again? I'm so horrible with names.
I don't remember the mom's name.
No.
Katie. Katie was the daughter.
So the little kid. Like, Katie, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And then they're just sitting in the middle of the road. Dude, what the hell?
Yeah. What do you expect if you can't if you can't see anything? There's snow everywhere. If you can't see, well, then other people can't see.
Exactly.
And you're literally in the middle of the road. And
you're arguing in the middle of the road.
In the middle of the road. And, they get hit by a snowplow.
Right.
Which I think they even said, we need to get out of the road. We're going to get hit by a snowplow. And there you go.
Yeah.
I know. It didn't waste any time.
No,
it went straight to it. And I believe that you really couldn't spend a lot of time on that. It just needed to be quick because the whole idea here is Gemma, which is her aunt, who is the engineer at the toy company.
Yep.
That's her aunt, and she's listed as the guardian if anything should happen to them.
Yep.
And so I mean, I think there was only one other place that she could go, and that was maybe the father's in-laws in Florida.
Yeah.
And from what they said, they were kind of weird. So I mean, really, the only option here was Gemma,
She's a career woman.
She's
man.
a career
she's
woman.
in her she's in her mid-20s, I think. Did you get the impression maybe?
I would say early 30s.
Oh, you think early 30s?
I thought maybe early 30s.
Okay.
Yeah.
She seemed young to me. She just seemed but whatever, whichever age is, she's just this career woman that just, no kids and, degrees up the wazoo and,
Very good at what she
robotics,
does. Yeah.
engineer, that whole
Yeah.
thing. And
She's damn good. You could tell she's damn good at what she does.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, she doesn't, I mean, if you think, I mean, I know she's going to do it, but she really doesn't have the time, really. I mean,
I found it interesting, sort of the dynamic or the major difference between Gemma and her sister, which would be Katie's mom.
Yeah.
It's like single life, and then like parenting life.
Yeah.
It's like they were two totally opposite. It was like the mom, they had the rules with like only so much screen time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then Katie gets over to Gemma's, house, and she's all like, I think she had the phone, and she's like, how much time do I get,
I think
or something
it was like a
that.
tablet
Or
or something.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah.
She goes, whatever, as long as you want. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just a total difference. And
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, because I mean, us being parents, it's just it's kind of trial and error, right? You kind of just learn it along the way.
Yep.
I know there's books, but come on, people. You kind of have to just do it.
Yeah.
You know, and so she was.
Yeah.
But I mean, I never felt that the house wasn't really equipped. Or, I didn't feel like it was not equipped. Let me rephrase that. I felt it like it was fine. I mean, Katie had to have been what, maybe 8 out of 9? I don't,
something.
8 to 10. I don't know. Other than the fact that she wanted to play with her collectibles and
that cracked me up, dude.
and Katie didn't understand that. Like, I don't understand. I'm young. I don't know what a collectible is.
Don't touch my Funko Pop.
Yeah. And so, but I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, I knew it took a little bit for her to adapt to having Katie. At first, she just felt kind of, I don't know, inconvenienced, and then
Well, she was under that deadline. Remember, like the competing company like had created
another pet that was similar,
right,
for a lower cost.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, okay, we need to get something else out, and it was it was the perpetual thing. But Gemma she wanted to kind of push on that whole M3GAN doll.
Oh yeah,
and but David wasn't about that, and I mean, and
well,
so
plus it like the head burst
blew up. Well,
Yeah.
that was her damn. I'm not gonna say assistant, maybe coworker. That Cole guy. So Tess and Cole were her friends / coworkers. I think Kurt was the assistant to David. He was kind of like, we'll find out later that he was a thief. And then Celia's the neighbor, and Lydia's the therapist, and there's a few other people, but those really are the kind of main characters.
Yeah.
You could tell that Gemma and this is the thing. This is how I was thinking about this. Like I didn't feel like Celia was a horrible neighbor, but we're supposed to believe she's a horrible neighbor, right?
I got the impression she was. I hated her from
Really? See,
yes, I did.
I didn't. It's not that I hated her. I mean, I think there was a little bit of, I don't know. I guess I don't know, man. A little. I was irritated, I guess, with her. But then I was thinking about this. Okay, as the movie plays out, these things happen because of Gemma's lack of, I don't know, accountability. Like, there's a hole in the fence. In Gemma's fence that Celia, you could tell, has told her to fix it because she has a dog. And well, damn, if the dog goes through the hole, that's kind of on Gemma, right? I mean, I'm just trying to,
that whole fence thing didn't make sense to me, and I'll tell you why it didn't make sense. And unless I just didn't see something on the scenes, but when you like on scenes when she was, I don't know, maybe she'd open up her door to talk to the cops or was looking through the window or whatever. Especially when I think she was looking through the window on that one scene when the neighbor was looking for the dog.
Oh, yeah.
So it was just a fence that bordered between properties, but it didn't enclose the property. So the dog could have easily gone down the driveway and around on her property.
Yes, it could have.
So then what's the point?
Well, unless we missed it. Unless the only thing I can think of
I don't
is,
think so, Rick. No, I don't think so. It's possible, but I mean, I've seen this movie now 3 times. Twice with you and once with Shaylee.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that fence was only just some border fence between properties, but it didn't completely enclose properties.
Maybe you're right. I mean, it was kind of weird where the dog set up, the dog house was set.
Yeah.
Unless, was the dog on a chain? Do you remember?
I think so.
I mean, the reason we bring this up obviously comes into play.
The Sandlot.
Yeah. But I don't know. I can't now. I don't remember if the dog had a chain. I don't know. I felt that Gemma being a single person, right? Mm-hmm. She's all about her career. She has a nice house. It's a nice house. She has nice things. And I felt that there were certain things that just weren't important to her. And so fixing a hole in the thing or whatever the hell it may be,
see and that might be, again, I guess I didn't make the connection that was Gemma's fence. To me, that was a common, that was a good neighbor thing.
I don't know though.
But I think what they were trying to get across, like trying to deliver this and develop kind of the dynamic between the neighbors is that, okay, let's just pretend that, that fence totally belonged to Gemma and there's a hole and the neighbor said, look, you got to fix that. Otherwise my dog's going to get through, even though the dog can totally go around.
Yeah.
They also made it a point about her
the power washer,
fertilizer stuff, you know what I mean? And so I got the impression that it was more, the dynamic was more, both of them are doing things that are questionable. Yeah. Right. So maybe for Gemma's part, it's like, get around to fixing that goddamn and for the neighbor's part, what the neighbor's name again? Celia. From her part, it's like, well, maybe you don't spray your freaking chemicals all over the, neighbor's yard.
What sort of chemicals? Because I mean, it looked like it was a power washer, right?
Yeah, it was.
What the hell? Did people spray chemicals with a power washer? I thought it just power washers used to clean shit up.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
that didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense to me either. I don't know.
Unless it was on such a low pressure, used for weed be gone or something.
I don't know. That's
I don't know,
weed be
man.
gone.
You know what I mean?
Roundup
or something.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, all this stuff is going to come into play. So that's why we're talking about it. Because I mean, all these things are kind of like a domino effect, right? Shit starts happening. So Katie is basically staying with Gemma. Katie's parents died in the crash.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, Katie's going through some shit that any kid would go through when they just lost their parents. Yeah. And Gemma just doesn't seem to be in tune with any of it.
She just doesn't know how. She has no idea how.
I felt at times she was, man, I'm not gonna say super. Well, no, I was going to say that she was not sympathetic, but then I'm like, I'm not saying she was like completely non-sympathetic, but I felt like there were times where she, just as a human being, like, you could have somehow adapted and I don't know, connected with her a little bit or more than she did. And I understand the pressure she was under with her job. I understand that, but I don't know. I felt like early on, she just wasn't really making an effort.
Yes. But that was because she was, both of them were trying to get used to just a really fucked up situation. You know what I mean? And so from Katie's point of view, she's trying to get used to this person who has no idea how to do this, right? From Gemma's point of view, she's Forrest Gumping her way through that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, she's like, well, aren't you going to, Katie's like, aren't you going to read me a bedtime story? And she's like, oh, I don't really have any books. And then, she improvises, and I think in that moment she went to the one thing that she knows, which is technology. And she's like, oh, I could probably download one on this app. And I mean, so it's like, she's certainly trying, but it's like, that period is just one of those growing pains periods. Right. but she's also under the gun to get stuff done, and she's
Yeah.
trying to, and she's
All
a little
right.
over focused on her career, certainly. But I mean,
Yeah.
a little bit of for me, I gave a little pass.
You gave
Like
her a pass?
I did because
All right.
because both of them are just in a really bad situation, trying to make the best out of
right.
a bad situation.
Okay, all right. Then I'll give her a pass then.
Yeah, try to take off the parenting hat for a minute and just
Yeah.
kind of look at it from an objective point of view, and then you
Yeah.
can kind of see both angles of it. It's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah. Well, I mean, so does Lydia, the therapist, show up? Kind of. I was this like a random?
I don't.
It seemed like Gemma just forgot,
She did.
and so
She did.
Lydia, I didn't. That first meeting, I didn't care for the therapist. I
No,
thought
I
she was a
didn't.
total bitch.
I did. It wasn't until later in the movie that I actually started
Yeah.
to go, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But that first meeting with the therapist, I did not like that therapist. It's like, well, and it's a silly thing. It's like I understand what the therapist was trying to say, but like, when she's like, well, hey, well, maybe what you do is, get a toy and I'll watch you guys interact with the toy. And then of
Yeah.
course, Katie's like, there's no toys in here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, what about those? She's just pointing to the
Yeah.
collectibles.
Yeah.
And there was that whole thing.
Yeah.
I felt a little bad for Gemma, a tiny bit.
Well, I did too, because obviously it wasn't taken out of the box for a reason, and then she felt pressure to
Do it.
do it because, okay, well, this therapist is judging me now,
Right.
And I got to figure out a way, or at least convey a way to her, to the Lydia, that I'm connecting with with Katie somehow. And
And it was just irritating, man, because it was like all she was trying to do is like explain how the toy worked. Isn't that what? Okay, if let's just pretend for a minute that there was plenty of board games or plenty of other games in the house that weren't collectibles. Let's just say she had a drawer full of stuff.
sure,
Okay, well, isn't that what you do when you play a game, especially if it's a game that's just not a tennis ball that you roll across the floor?
Yeah.
Don't you explain the rules and how
Yep.
to do it? But yet that
Absolutely.
therapist was like, maybe we just let Gemma or Katie,
yeah, because Gemma goes, well, that's not the way it's, that's not its intended use, and she goes, well, just let her figure. And I was like, no, if you made me essentially take this thing out of a damn box, I'm going to want to teach her the right way to play this thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I was really just right out of the gate.
I was irritated too. I was irritated with the therapist too.
For sure, man.
Yeah. So then, okay. So Gemma is getting pressure from her CEO. She's got to figure out something with this new perpetual pet. But then, Katie is bored and curious. And she comes into, I guess, Gemma's like, I don't know, would this be her kind of office slash,
It's her work.
her work area?
Yeah.
And so she's, Gemma ends up showing Katie the robot that she built in, I guess, college, I assume. Yeah.
Yep.
And of course, Katie thinks that's awesome. And she makes a comment, if I had something like that, I wouldn't need anything else. Kind of,
Yeah.
I'm probably paraphrasing.
It was essentially correct. And I think if right in that moment, because look, I mean, that's what Gemma wanted to begin with, right? I mean, so she had that first one that was in the toy company's, her workspace there.
Yeah.
Right. The one that,
Oh, the one she built in college.
no,
That
no,
one?
no, 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 no. I'm saying she had, she had M3GAN
Oh, at work
At work,
previously,
previously,
where it blew up.
where it blew up, right? She took it home with her.
Yeah, because David said, "Get the thing out of here."
Get the thing out of here, and then you need to work on the next perpetual pet.
Yes,
right?
prioritize this.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so I think in that moment, I think that Gemma was like, I think she latched onto that. She's like,
Yeah.
ooh, well, that's a way where I can do this thing that I'm really trying to do while also, involving
From Katie.
Katie.
Because, I mean, she's not quite sure how to interact with Katie.
Exactly.
And
But technology is what she knows.
yeah.
So she's like, ooh, a bridge. Because she sees Katie is like interested in it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So she's like, oh, yeah, hell yeah. Now I've got the bridge between this, speaking my language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And builds M3GAN. What do you remember what the acronym for M3GAN was? The acronym is M3GAN, but I mean,
Goodness.
what the?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to look it up. It's
No,
all
I'm
right.
gonna look at that because now you're gonna kill one. No,
It's
no,
okay.
I gotta look it up.
Well, you can look it up. So she builds M3GAN. M3GAN's a state-of-the-art doll, artificial intelligence, all this other stuff. And I'll be honest, dude, I thought it looked great. Like I know a lot of it was someone in some sort of like whatever. Mm-hmm. But I thought the way it moved, the way it interacted, the way it talked, I mean, it was very believable to me. Like, because this had a potential to be really crappy.
Yes.
Like, they could have just, if they didn't spend the time or the energy to do this right, this could have just been a crappy-ass movie.
I know.
I mean, because if you think about it, the concept, when we talk about it, the concept sounds kind of hokey, right? But then, it's all about the execution. Did you find it?
Just about. Model 3 generative Android.
There you go, M3GAN.
Yeah.
Model 3 generated Android. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is. Sorry. That was going to bug me the entire, so I had to get that out.
Yeah. But, I mean, M3GAN's pretty freaking cool, right? And so Gemma, once she gets M3GAN done and introduces her to Katie, and she pairs her, this is where they do this little presentation with David.
Yeah.
And he at first he's kind of irritated. He's pissed because this is a lot of money.
Yes.
Because I think just that rubber that went over the face was like $100,000 alone, right? Or maybe more. I don't know.
Did they even say
I thought they said it was like 100,000 because I thought Gemma had said we spent like 100,000 on something he didn't even want or ask for.
Dang.
And I thought that's what she said.
Yeah.
And at first, I mean, it's kind of cool, right? I mean, they get paired together, and then M3GAN goes over to the table and starts drawing.
Yep.
And it doesn't look like anything.
Well, there's nothing on the page.
There's nothing there. And then spills the water, and David's like, of course, the thing's got bugs and it doesn't work. And then all of a sudden you see this.
Yeah.
The damn thing looked like a photograph.
It did. It was quite amazing.
Of Katie.
Totally.
And he's like, okay, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. He just goes into full on
For sure. He starts seeing dollar signs.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I think that was when he was all like, more or less than a Tesla.
Yeah, more or less than a Tesla. Okay, production cost, more or less.
Yeah.
And so the idea here is, okay, let's come up with stuff. We're gonna talk to the board, and we're gonna do some sort of launch here. And the idea here is to use Katie because Katie is now paired with M3GAN, and it makes sense, right?
Oh, yeah.
She's gonna spend time with her and learn, and so yeah.
Yeah, nothing bad's gonna happen with that.
No. I mean, no, nothing ever bad in these types of movies happens when you start messing with, that type of. But you start playing God.
Yeah, but at first things seemed.
It seemed fine, but I mean, right? I mean, but we expected that, right? We knew it wouldn't go.
Well, I mean, it was like. I mean, of course, because we know it's a horror movie, so we know that the shit's going to go sideways. But I mean, for the most part, things started to. I mean, things were going well. I mean, M3GAN was behaving and doing exactly like it's supposed to be. Like just
teaching Katie.
Oh, yeah, science,
when put your drink on a coaster. Simple things as flushing the toilet. How the hell did this kid not know how to flush a toilet? She was 10 years old or something, and wash your hands. So it was these, and it was good. But the part of the issue was, and I think even her coworker Tess said this. It's like, well, what is the end game here? Because you're essentially teaching, or you're programming M3GAN to teach, let's say, the child, whoever the child is that's paired with, this particular doll. In this case, it's Katie. They're teaching her everything. So what the hell is a parent doing?
Right.
Nothing.
Yeah.
And so wasn't there a line in there where it says, I think David was, I think Gemma was giving him language to use, like, for a presentation. And it said something like, so you can do the things that are more important.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what's more important than raising your kid?
It's just it's just not seeing the forest for the trees, man.
Yeah.
It's clearly from the perspective of somebody who doesn't have kids and just that's not their focus. So they're not seeing it from that lens. They're not seeing the problems that are going to come with this. You know what I mean? I mean, hell, at first, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? This lifelike android that's just, right. I mean, in some ways, you and I are both guilty of giving our kids some form of,
for sure,
of AI in the form of an iPhone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That they interact with all day long. Now, what's the difference? Okay, well, I suppose it can't murder you, but I mean, they're still interacting with the thing. It can't talk back, though it actually can. You ask it, it's Siri and whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah. So in some ways, there's no difference there. Parents still right now are giving their kids the thing, and I guess it's for different reasons, but I mean, really, it's get out of here so we can get our life stuff done.
Very different than when we were kids. We've talked about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I see what you're saying. I mean,
you know what I mean?
I think the intent there was good. It's just she couldn't anticipate M3GAN,
There's no way possible for her to. She's just not even in that. It's not even in the wheelhouse. It's like she's not even in the. It's like staying in your own lane kind of thing. Yeah. She's not a parent. She never has been a parent. She is just this career woman driven. There is no way she's even gonna see that because she's blinded by the career. Yeah. Right. Yeah. The aspirations.
I mean, in her position, I think it'd be hella cool to create something like that. It could be like the next biggest toy in the world. Yeah. Doll, whatever. I mean, that's kind of cool, right? Yeah.
It's kind of, it's like when we were watching it and right around that point where it started to turn and we started to see, okay, the potential problems. Yeah. It reminded me of kind of like on like Jurassic Park with Jeff Goldblum's character. He's you were so focused on whether you could, you didn't stop to think if you should. Yeah. That's what I think that happened with Gemma. She was so focused on doing it. She wasn't so focused on the implications of what she was creating.
Well, especially, I mean, M3GAN, she learns everything and then adapts and then in a sense kind of changes her programming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now, what do you think was it? I believe it was. I think it was the dog situation that is what caused her programming to. Because remember, she had Gemma had programmed in parameters that at all costs she is to keep Katie safe physically and emotionally. Yes. Right. Yep. But and I even believe her coworkers said, well, you didn't put parental controls in?
I don't think so. I don't think they had programmed them in yet.
Mm-hmm. So there was no safeguards programmed in, and there was this like prime directive programmed in. And then the first time that, Katie ends up in harm's way, I think that was when it just flipped. Like, I think in the programming.
So can we really, if you think about it, can we really blame M3GAN then for it? I mean, if you're not given proper direction and you're only told, this one thing, it's up to you to kind of figure out what that is. And you're essentially a robot. Yeah. You have to try to figure that out.
Yeah, I don't.
And so, I mean,
I don't blame M3GAN. I don't. I don't at all. I mean, it was fucked up what she did.
Well, of course it is. Of course, I think we only could go so far to not blame M3GAN, and then at some point you kind of got to go. Okay, it's kind of gotten a little.
Well, yeah. I mean, because like if you've got if if a car is sitting in a parking lot and I don't know, for whatever reason, the person gets out of the car and they thought they had put it in park, but they actually didn't. It was stuck in between maybe neutral and drive or something. I don't, just hypothetical here.
Sure.
They take off, right? But then the gear shifts, slips into drive, right?
Yeah.
And then the car's going. It's just going on its own, right? And it's just barreling through stuff and whatever. Well, I mean, you're not going to blame the car, right? But there is a point when you have to intervene and you've got to destroy the car. Otherwise, it's going to keep killing people indiscriminately, right? So it's kind of like that, you know? You just
This isn't Christine, but it's...
right. I mean, it's like there is still a problem. I mean, that has to be dealt with, even if it wasn't Megan's fault.
God, now that I'm thinking about it, and this is so off topic, but not, I can see a movie coming out with a killer car and it's electric and it has all the gadgets and shit in it. Dude, that's going to happen.
You think so?
It will absolutely
You think
happen.
it'll be like a Christine, some sort of cousin to a Christine?
With all the technology with cars these days, and they can literally drive and park, and I guarantee you, man, something is going to there'll be a movie. Watch.
Good God.
I can copyright that right
You
now.
get a copy.
I do not have a name for it currently. But I mean, right? I mean, so, yeah, I mean, all right. So Megan is trying to help Katie find her toy. I think her toy, it was like a bow and arrow, right? She lost one of her arrows. Megan sees it. It's right where the hole in the fence is. How convenient.
Yeah, that's like a plot.
And
it's a plot device, man.
Yeah. So Megan goes over there, gets attacked by the dog, and then Katie goes over, and then the dog, I think, bites Katie.
Yeah.
And then of course the cops are called, and they can't do anything. It's like, well, it wasn't really the dog's fault because you went to Celia's property. And what was the dog supposed to do?
Yeah.
I don't blame the dog. I mean, it's not the dog's fault. You know, if you're sticking your hand onto the property, right? I mean,
yeah.
So
we do need to find out whether or not that dog was chained.
I have a feeling the dog was chained. Because then why else would there not be a fence towards the driveway then?
Yeah.
Because the dog could just
Well, that's the only thing that makes sense.
So then, of course, Megan is like, okay, yeah, hell no, that's not.
Yeah.
You've now attacked Katie, which,
and her.
Yeah. I think though, she's probably more forgiving with attacking herself, but attacking Katie was like, oh, hell no.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was in clear violation of, right? Yeah. Like that was the first real, test on this, her prime directive, you know.
And, her being AI robot can mimic the voice of the owner and ends up killing the dog. I'm glad we don't see anything. I mean, I don't like seeing that type of stuff. I know it sounds so crazy, and I don't know if maybe it doesn't, but it's fine when we're watching a horror movie and we know a person's going to die, right?
Yeah.
I don't like when they kill off pets. I don't like that. And
most people don't.
And most of the time they stay away from that.
They do.
And they might imply it, but they don't show it. Halloween would be a good example. The original Halloween. Remember when the dog was barking? And you see Michael holding the dog, but and again, that was 78. So I mean, it's different now.
Yeah, I mean, there are occasional movies that will sort of go in that direction, but there's by and large no. What was that, like the boiling of the bunny on Basic Instinct or something like that?
Was that Basic Instinct?
Was that the name of that movie, Basic Instinct?
No, I think you're thinking A Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Attraction.
Was it Basic Instinct with Sharon Stone?
Yes.
Yeah. And then I think Fatal Attraction with Michael Douglas
and what's her name?
I can't think of her name right now. God, I hate getting old.
I know. I can see her. Meryl Streep?
No, not Meryl Streep. The other actress. It's going to come to me. I can't think of her name right now.
Anyway, but they had the bunny, boiling of the bunny.
Yeah. They don't do a lot of that stuff with pets, and I get it. They may show a dead something, like in Reanimator, the dead cat, or they do that stuff.
But most
Pet
of the time-
Cemetery,
yeah.
But most of the time, it's one thing to show something that's obviously fake and dead. It's a difference to have a pet and show it getting killed.
Right.
Right. Glenn Close. Damn it, dude. Oh my God, I hate.
Yeah, you got there.
I got there. Yeah. So M3GAN kills the dog, and then of course Celia, has the cops come by to question Gemma, and she knows nothing about it.
Yeah.
But I think Gemma's starting to get a little bit of a, Do you think at that point she's starting to think, or is it once, they go to that little outside daycare thingy, a school?
Yeah.
Do you think that's where she starts?
Yeah. No, that's honestly when I think. I think that when the cop comes with the dog, I think she's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I can't stand my neighbor anyways. I can't stand the dog, and I can't stand her fertilizer and her pressure washer.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with her dog. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
But I think it was when
Gemma takes her to this outside school thing.
Yeah.
And of course Katie is insistent on M3GAN being part of it, but she's like, no.
Well, this is when Katie starts acting like a brat.
She does act like a brat.
But from a psychology point of view, though, it's kind of understandable, but she still act like a brat.
She does act like a little a-hole. But it is understandable, right? I mean, your parents are gone. I'm staying with my aunt. You gave me this cool ass doll, and now you won't let me bring her to this school thing that I don't even want to go to.
Right. Yeah, but even before that, she was doing stuff like when they were having lunch, and she's like, "Eat your hot dog, Katie. Eat your hot dog, Katie." And Katie was ignoring while because she was interacting with M3GAN.
Yeah.
And then she gets Katie gets all annoyed and grabs the hot dog. You remember that? Like takes a bite, and gives her that
just
like
a spider.
Gives her that like look. Like,
how about Dad? Is that okay?
Right? You know what I mean? So I mean, she was starting to act like she brat
was
before.
She was. I mean, she's a kid, right? They go through phases, right? I mean, they just do. Yeah. Especially under the circumstances. I mean, she still was a little a-hole, but I mean, again, you just kind of chalk it up to whatever.
Yeah.
But she somehow talks Gemma and let her take M3GAN on to this whatever this thing was. Dude, it was out in the fucking wilderness or something.
Yeah.
And
I don't even know what you call that.
I don't even know, dude, what that was.
Day retreat or something. Kind of camp.
Some sort
Crystal Lake.
So not Camp Crystal Lake, whatever. Just just trying to change up things, right? Some outdoor school thing where they do activities, but there's a little kid that, well, I guess he's not that little.
No.
All the other ones are little. He's older and no one seems to like him. And you could tell he's a little dick. And you can tell he's going to be next.
Yeah. Seriously.
I forgot his name, but somehow Katie gets paired up with him. And he's just a little fucker, man.
Oh my God, that kid.
Yeah, he like she goes and she's collecting like whatever she's collecting. I don't know what it was on the ground. And one of the things she picks up has these like almost little thorns. And as she picks it up, he squeezes her hand,
didn't he hand it to her? He gives her a green one. One that was
he handed it to her.
He handed it to her, and when she went to grab it, that was why he got a hold of her hand and started squeezing.
And it hurt her. And then of course M3GAN shows up because man, they stick M3GAN with all the other toys, and it just looks so
like
it looks
it's
so
like
out
teddy
of
bears.
Yeah, all like teddy bears and stuffed animals and shit. And then here's this fucking $1 million doll or whatever. I mean, I know it's not $1 million, but you think about
what would $100,000 silicone covering for a face, but maybe.
Yeah. And it just looks so kind of weird and out of place and funny. It just seemed kind of funny to me. And so M3GAN goes and sees this little kid, and he's hurting Katie, and then he grabs M3GAN and takes her to some other part of the forest or whatever, and throws her down, starts slapping her around, and then she goes.
Dude, for a minute there, I thought he was going to like rape her or something. I don't know. Just the way
what he was going to do.
Yes.
Yeah. He just the way he was the way he threw her down and got on top of her was really weird.
It was weird.
It was
and
weird.
I thought any minute there he was going to start because he took her shoe off.
He did take her shoe off. He must have a shoe fetish.
I don't know what it was, but I
mean,
mean, I think maybe that was just him trying to flirt with that idea.
maybe.
Maybe that it kept going or something.
I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad it was just him being a little dick. And then, so M3GAN had enough of it and grabs his fucking ear and Jesus Christ, dude, I didn't know an ear could stretch that far. I'm sure it can't, but for the movie, it was kind of cool.
Yeah. I don't know if it can.
I don't think it can.
I mean, it was a cool
Dude, I don't
thing,
think it can, but for the sake of the movie, it was cool. What I was a little disappointed, not terribly, is when you and I saw this, we saw it in the theater, right? We didn't see the director's cut or whatever it was.
The uncut version.
The uncut version, yeah. And then we recently watched the uncut version, and comparing the two, there really wasn't much difference.
Nope.
When we watched it the first time, I thought it was really good. The only thing I felt that was missing was just a little bit of gore, a little bit of blood.
Yeah.
And you know me, I don't like that stuff, but I felt like that was really needed. That was really needed in the movie. And then I'm like, okay, we're going to get this uncut version and it's going to add that. And it really didn't add much.
Not really.
Like, I don't know, maybe his ear stretched a little. I don't even know if they changed the ear scene.
I don't think they did. I think in that scene, it was when he was running away from her. And she's all on all fours, like
that
galloping.
was creepy, though.
You know?
Well, didn't she say something like, "This is when you run," and then she like got all like contorted and shit. I thought that was pretty cool.
It was, but it was when he fell down the hill into the road. I think they extended that slightly.
when the SUV hit him.
Yes,
I think you're right. I think that was a little more bloodier than it was in the initial cut,
slightly,
but not much.
Not really.
And then the cop comes. Interviews Gemma and it just seemed kind of like coincidental, right? I mean, you were, the dog thing, and then Was there one other thing that I'm missing out though?
So I thought that are you talking about the detective?
Yeah, the detective.
Yeah, well, that was because prior to that, the neighbor M3GAN killed the neighbor.
Okay, so we jumped ahead.
We did.
That's all right. We can do that.
Yeah, that's all right. No big deal. Remember, like with the pressure washer.
So that's right. Okay,
and the nail gun.
The nail gun. Yeah, we should talk about that because that was cool.
Yeah.
So M3GAN. Yeah, we'll have to come back to that. But Celia hears the dog. Right. It's not the dog, of course. It's M3GAN. Inside her garage or shed or whatever that was. Celia goes in there. M3GAN. Kind of creeps out from the dark and hits her with the power washer.
Dude,
what the hell? How many PSI did that fucker have?
I'm serious, dude. That was unrealistic because the neighbor Celia, she's got to be what, 200 pounds?
I would say 200-ish. Yeah.
Yeah. Huh? I'm sorry, but I mean the way she blew back like that was was like a fireman and a hose, like a fire hose.
True. It was like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she nail guns her hand.
That was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. And then she power washes her face. Now in the original cut,
theatrical,
yeah. The theatrical cut that we saw in the theater, we didn't see any of the water hitting her face and kind of tearing off the skin.
They didn't see any of that.
And this wasn't really that much more.
It wasn't.
It wasn't really. I just was kind of wanting a little bit more.
It was like an additional 5 seconds.
Maybe.
Where it began to show part of her cheek skin.
Yeah.
Ripping off.
Yeah, I felt we could have had a little bit of more of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I still like the scene. I still like the death. It was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's right. That's right. Because they're starting to, they're not really saying, okay, hey, Gemma, we think you have something to do with it. It's just, we think it's coincidental, but we have to,
Yeah.
And I thought, yeah. And so I guess that must have happened.
It happened before because then, when that detective does show up, he's interviewing, Gemma, and she doesn't know that's,
yeah,
you know what I mean? She doesn't know about actually, I think didn't the cop, wasn't it that the cop came to the door and she goes, oh, not again, right? Yeah. That was when he goes, no.
Yeah,
and then he
she's-
pointed
yeah.
over, and she
Yeah, what
looked
does
and-
she want now? What does she accuse me of?
Right.
You know, and then and so I'm trying to remember if that was which death was first. Huh. I don't remember. God damn, we just watched this, dude.
You mean whether it was Celia's death or whether it was,
It was
the boy?
Yeah. Actually, it was the boy first
Yeah.
because and it just had happened, and then they found Celia because the death might have happened the night before, but they didn't find her
Right.
until the next day, and then the detective comes.
Right, because they
Jesus.
found his
We got
ear
there.
up.
Yeah, they found his ear up there.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, dude. God. Well, we got there.
We got
we
there.
figured it out.
Yeah.
Well, Gemma is absolutely thinking something isn't right now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Because she's also trying to rein in M3GAN at that point. She's starting to have she's starting to battle with M3GAN because M3GAN's trying to assert herself in you know,
For sure.
and she's like, you know, remember she's like, you know, turn off M3GAN, you know, and then of course
Yeah.
Katie's like, you know, what are you doing? You know, turn on M3GAN, you know what I mean? And that
Well,
whole thing.
you can see like when Katie grabs some water and puts on the table,
Yeah.
M3GAN no longer corrects
no
her.
longer says put a
No
coaster,
longer
nothing.
seems to care. It's
Nope.
like whatever Katie kind of wants,
Yep.
whether it's right or wrong, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because those safeguards and protocols are no longer. Like, the AI is morphed and like twisted. And,
Doesn't Gemma go to try to look at the files and she can't get access to any of them?
yeah, they're corrupted. They and then they also weren't uploaded to the cloud server, which is what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, because doesn't she's working, she's in her little office workspace, and then Gemma comes in, or excuse me, M3GAN comes in, and she's scared.
oh yeah,
And she, you know, she gets a pen and says, "Hey, M3GAN, can you look at this?" And then she turns her off.
Yeah.
Basically wraps her ass up and is going to take her back to the to Funky. Funky. And Katie's upset, which I understand Katie would be upset, but she's trying to figure out what's going on here.
she is acting like a shithead in that back.
Didn't she
seat,
kick
dude.
the-
She
did she
kicked
kick
the
the
damn
back seat?
back. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a little shit. But it's kind of understandable.
Well, it's not long after that though that there was the scene, the next scene that they had with the therapist.
Oh yeah.
Remember?
Oh, with Lydia, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I think it was right around there that you start to see the the truth in what the therapist was.
Yeah.
You know, she's like, "What? I mean, this is amazing what you've created,
Yeah.
but what? I mean,
What's the end game here? Like what?
yeah."
I mean, yeah.
I mean, you know, the first thing that's going to happen with a child when they lose a parent is they're gonna try to make attachments with the first thing that comes into their orbit. That
Yeah.
you know
That
what I
should have
mean?
been Gemma, but Gemma
Right.
basically made it M3GAN.
Right.
And so what do you expect?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, you know, I think this was inevitable, right?
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
for sure.
you know, and Gemma's trying to explain to Tess and Cole that there's some issues with this thing, and I don't know. It's like, I don't know. They kind of want to believe her, but there's like at the same time, it's like, what are you saying? Like she's changing her programming? Like, I mean, you know, because I mean, and I know we jumped ahead a little bit when Katie and M3GAN did that little, you know, when there was that presentation and Katie was, you know, upset and crying and they weren't sure if it was part of the thing or not. And David, of course, was pissed at the time because he thought, oh, shit, here's this presentation here and Katie's crying. Well, Katie's upset.
To all the stakeholders and like
all the board
potential
members. Yeah.
board members. Yeah.
And so, and then, you know, and then of course, you know, M3GAN kind of salvages it. Because honestly, dude, Katie,
that was cracking me up, Rick, because they were all
they
were all crying, they're all tearing
there
up.
There was one woman that was crying. It was like, oh my god,
it was like one of those like Hallmark moments.
But M3GAN kind of saved the whole day, right, with that, and then you know, stored a memory, but you could tell M3GAN was pissed that Gemma even put Katie in that position.
Yeah,
you know.
Yep.
But anyways, they're getting ready to launch this thing. But within a few hours, right, to the world, and there's issues with M3GAN, and they're trying to figure it out. And then there's that confrontation with Lydia and Katie,
Oh God!
And doesn't Katie? She pulls out like a pair of scissors on Lydia.
Yes.
And then Gemma comes
in
in and Katie slaps her.
Dude.
I know. I was irritated too, but I'm like, I kind of get it as well, you know.
Well, even I suppose in her defense, and even Katie afterwards was like, "Holy crap, did I just do that?" He was all like, "I'm sorry," you know. Yeah, I mean, that's just tough. I think they did a fairly good job at showing, you know, the emotional turmoil that's gonna occur.
Yeah,
when you give a kid who's grieving the loss of their parents something artificial like that, that's not you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like when
for sure,
right?
For sure. I mean, because they, you know, obviously M3GAN does the best she can, but it's not a person, so you know, you can't be able to convey all those emotions and stuff and talk to them, and you just can't do it. Kids
need boundaries. They need rules. They you just there nothing is going to get around that. You start taking that stuff away and behavior problems happen. It's just simple as that.
I did like when Gemma was like, this just, you know, this shit isn't really working, and I need to connect with her, and we got to change this route, and then she just basically leaves.
Yep.
You know, she basically leaves, and you could tell, I think, that Katie kind of, you know, accepted it, respected it, you know, and I think you could see her tone change for sure.
Yeah.
You know, and then in the meantime, Tess and Cole are trying to do some tests on M3GAN.
Right.
Within a few hours of this launch, trying to figure out what's going on. Then you get a phone call, which ends up being M3GAN to Gemma's phone.
Yeah. Gemma weirds out on that because the very last thing says, "Well, you're the boss."
Yes.
And she's like, "That's not something that my coworker."
I could see M3GAN saying that.
Yeah, totally.
A little condescending, you know.
Yeah.
We forgot to talk about Kurt, who's the assistant of David, trying to rip off the company with the files.
That was cracking me up when he was on the laptop at that table, and David comes up and he slams the laptop down, and David's all like, "You surfing porno again?" That shit cracked me. He just had this guilty look on his face the whole time. And I'm going, if I were David, I would have been like, "Okay, open that damn thing up."
Oh, for sure.
I would have.
Oh, absolutely. If I have someone working for me and I'm getting ready to launch something that's very secretive, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. But he just doesn't do that.
He does. I don't know. He's more worried about what's for lunch or something like that.
That's right.
I never felt though that Kurt was like this mastermind where he's going to rip. I just felt like,
well, he wasn't even a mastermind. He just, what he was he was really irritated and annoyed and mad that he you know, David just treated him like shit. He was just that assistant boy that just all he ever did was just went and got coffee and food and
well, no one wanted to really listen to any of his ideas, what his thoughts were, his opinions, and I think that pissed him off.
Yeah. So, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call him mastermind. He just was all like, "Oh yeah, well, screw that. Then I'm going to go ahead and
show you.
I'm going to copy all the files for M3GAN and I'm going to give it to probably
I don't know, Hasbro.
Hasbro.
Something. I don't know. I'm just trying to throw out some toy company.
Yeah.
So they start doing the tests, right? And they go to unplug stuff because they know something's not going right with M3GAN, and then M3GAN gets free, wraps a wire around what's his name? Was it Cole's?
So what it was she was hanging from both of her arms, had like these wires attached to her wrists that were connected to the apparatus.
Yeah.
And so as he made after he unplugged the stuff from behind her, he made his way, you know, to leave, to, you know, just to kind of walk away. And right as he got to the side of her, she she pulled her arm and wrapped that wire around his neck.
Yeah. And started to choke him.
Yeah.
And really at that point, Tess only had one option, which was to grab a saw and try to saw it off, or he was gonna basically choked it, you know.
Yeah, and then
Hanged it
and then before Megan left, she punctured the flammable whatever.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. Was it propane or something? I don't know what
propane.
the hell that was.
I think it
was it propane
or
and
something? Some sort of gas. Some kind
and it caused an explosion.
Yeah.
Nothing huge, but big enough.
Yeah.
And then she starts strutting down the hallways, right? I know you said when we were watching this again, you said you didn't care for the part like when she starts to like dance, she's like dancing and stuff, and you didn't care for that. I had no problem with it.
The dancing part to me was a little cheesy.
Was it cheesy?
I did like when she like it was right after that dance scene. Like she kind of does this somersault.
Yeah.
And then but right at the when she lands the somersault was right next to the paper cutter and she literally rips the thing off.
And David comes because David comes around the corner and she starts going after him.
I thought that part of it was cool. I just didn't like I just thought the whole dancing thing was just really corny, dude. I don't know. I laughed out loud twice.
Yeah.
Three times when I thought I saw it.
I just thought it was kind of like fitting for what was happening at the time, right? I didn't really have much of an issue with it. And then she starts chasing David down the hall. He goes to the elevator where Kurt's coming out of the thing, and he's like, open the door. And then we get the paper cutter, whatever, arm blade through the chest of David.
Dude, and like it sprayed all over the assistant guy. What's his name again?
Kurt.
Kurt? Is it Kurt?
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. Let me look at it. I think it was Kurt. Yeah, Kurt. Yeah, because Tess and Cole are the coworkers. So Kurt. Yeah,
dude, that was realistic.
It looked good.
That looked good, dude.
It looked good. I don't recall. I wonder if there was more blood in that versus the theatrical
I think there
version.
was. I think that was really the bulk of the unrated.
That and what we're going to see happens to Kurt, which is she takes the blade from the paper cutter and cuts his neck.
Yeah.
That wasn't in the theatrical cut, so we got a lot more blood there.
For sure. And then of course she's like, he was like, why would you have killed him? She's like, I didn't kill him, you did.
yeah, because you wanted wanted to steal those files, and
Yeah. Yep.
And so then the elevator opens. The crowd that's waiting for eagerly waiting this release sees the bodies, and in the meantime, Megan hops in that car of David's. I don't even know what that was. That was a pretty
some kind of Lamborghini.
Was that a Lamborghini or
something?
That was a cool looking car.
Yeah.
Heads back to Gemma's house, and Gemma and Katie are there, and of course, Megan shows up. And,
oh yeah.
Oh,
I love the little piano scene.
Yeah.
She was all like playing the piano.
Oh, for sure, for sure. I mean, we kind of knew this was going to come to an end here, and more than likely it would be at the house.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, for sure.
And of course, Gemma's trying to talk with Megan, and she's not having any of that.
No.
It's like, we're well beyond that.
Totally.
She tries the whole little pin trick, and she's like,
she's like, I'm on.
I think she like grabs her arm and slams her to the table. Katie comes out, and is everything okay? And then she's trying to get Katie back in her room because she doesn't want her to see this or anything to happen to her.
Yeah,
because we don't know at this point what Megan's gonna do.
Nope.
She's kind of gone past the point of no return.
Oh yeah, man. No, she's full on. And then she's all like, what did she goes? Something about like, if you kill me, then Gemma's like, if you kill me, then something. I don't remember what she said. And she goes, oh well, I mean, you don't know about my other ability, which is palliative care.
Oh,
right? She's all no.
Yeah.
It was essentially she was like, just one sharp poke, and I don't even know where she said.
So, probably, she's probably implying I'll just paralyze you or something.
That's
where you
exactly
can't even
what
talk.
it was. So basically, you're just.
Yeah, you're just a vegetable, but you're still alive. Well, maybe not a total vegetable.
No, paralyzed.
Paralyzed. Yeah. And then I think Gemma throws water on her.
Yeah.
And kind of short circuit
her.
Yeah,
and that scene was pretty cool because that caused her to start jerking when she was walking, and that was kind of it reminded me of kind of like a contorted like the Ring. Or
a little bit.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. I know they've overdone that in horror movies over the last 10, 15 years, but I still kind of like it. I mean, when it's used occasionally or sparingly. Yeah. And this was my thing, and I was telling you this when we were watching this last time. So let's say this is a $10,000 doll. Okay, let's just say that's what it is, because I know they had mentioned that a couple times. So we know how kids are. Kids are clumsy. How often is something going to get spilled on the doll and it just doesn't work anymore? I mean, that's a flaw, right? I mean, that's,
Sure.
And I don't know what you do about it. I mean, but.
What about the rain?
I didn't even think about the rain.
Yeah.
I mean, because there was no rain at all during the movie,
No.
but that's a huge fucking flaw.
It is.
I mean, so it's like, okay, well, you only can play for it like 6 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Or you keep it inside.
Or you keep it inside. I think that was really kind of more the idea. But I mean, who's going to do that? Yeah.
Now, when you spend $10,000,
right. I mean, you're going to want that all over the place.
All over the place, man.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'll just chalk that up as just
whatever.
Well, whatever.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
It's whatever for the movie. Well, we get to the very end, right? There's a scene where it's in, Gemma's
workshop.
Her workshop, her workshop where, Megan comes in there and, there's they start fighting or whatever. I mean, she gets some good licks in on.
Oh yeah, she has that. What was that thing? It was like a hedge trimmer.
Yeah, I think it was a hedge trimmer.
What the hell's that doing in a workshop? Dude?
I don't know. I almost believe it was maybe part garage as well too.
Yeah. That's probably what it was, Rick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she grabs that and takes it to Megan's head and does a little damage to her.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, but of course, her skeletal structure is made out of titanium. Nothing's getting through there.
No. And she's strong as shit. I mean, Megan is strong as hell.
Oh yeah.
And but then, so she gets Gemma to a point where, you think she's going to end up
and choke her.
Yeah, choke her to death. And then Katie comes in and
Mm-hmm.
and then she has the two gloves from early on in the movie that controls the robot that Gemma built in college.
Yeah.
I forget the robot's name, but
I forget that.
I forget the robot's name, but basically the robot kind of, we kind of knew at some point that would come into play. You're not going to introduce it earlier on in the movie and not come into play. When we were watching the movie the first time, I'm like, this is eventually going to come into play.
For sure.
And it does. He grabs, the robot grabs Megan, does some damage to Megan.
Yep. Starts throwing him around.
Didn't the robot split her in half?
Yeah, ripped her in half.
Ripped her in half.
But so the gloves, just for if anybody hasn't seen, I don't know, although if you're listening to this, I can't imagine you haven't seen it. The gloves, you put the gloves on, and the gloves your gestures are, the robot parrots your gestures because it's all kind of it's Bluetooth together. Yeah, and so so Katie's back there like doing a rip gesture.
Yeah, rip or slamming it down like
right.
Yeah. And so, but Megan's a tough little broad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she don't need the bottom half of her.
No, she could crawl around and kick some ass, man. And she does a little some. But eventually, Katie and Gemma kind of team up and, and kill her, right? Yeah, because I think ultimately, so like she rips the front of her face off
to expose the chip.
Yeah.
And then I think eventually...
I think Katie grabbed a screwdriver.
This
is where I know you and I have talked about it multiple times. Mm-hmm. I just felt there should have been some cool 80s line.
You've been terminated.
You've been recalled.
You've been recalled.
like Katie's like, Megan, you've been recalled. I don't know, something toy related. I don't even know what that is, but I felt like, like toys get recalled, right? I just felt like it warranted some cool line right there.
You were Hasbro'd. I don't know. But I hear you, man.
I just felt it needed something.
Yeah, there needed to be a Schwarzenegger line right there.
Something, man. And if it wasn't Katie, it had to be Gemma. Like, it had to be something. I just felt like maybe Katie losing her parents and going through all of this, like, it just... boom, it needed some cool ass line at the end. And we didn't get it. It's fine. I mean,
it's whatever. They need to rewrite it.
That's in the uncut.
That's the director's
double uncut
version. Now with the same amount of blood and a one-liner.
I know it's like some special edition, like you buy it right on the very back. It goes bonus features, and it's like cool tagline.
Oh, man, that's
But
funny.
anyways, that's M3GAN, and then they imply that like somehow
we never talked about the little.
yeah, what was that? Gemma's.
It was like a house assistant. It was almost
Yeah.
like Alexa.
kind
But a
of.
little tiny robot, like a little tiny robot that was just sat on the desk, and it controlled. You would tell her like she had notifications or emails or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they implied that
implied,
M3GAN
like,
somehow got
into
made a copy.
Yeah, and now is in this little thing.
And how in the fuck is that thing gonna do anything? It doesn't even arms. It doesn't have arms. What is it
that's
gonna
the thing.
do?
I don't know. I kind of felt like that was not a good ending.
No, it was not needed.
I don't think that was needed at all.
No, like, what was it gonna do? Build itself some arms out of nothing? Like, it can't affect anything.
No, because I don't even think it even moves. Like, I
No,
don't even think it has the capability of moving.
No.
It just was, it looked like a paperweight. It
It
looked like a
did.
big paperweight that could like talk.
Yeah, I think
So
it can
I was-
swivel its head.
Okay, all right. I just felt like it was kind of like a lazy way to end it.
Yeah, it was just some sort of lazy, lame way of
Yeah.
sort of wink, wink, nod, nod that maybe there's a second one.
I know they're going to do a sequel. I absolutely.
Now,
they
what do you think
will.
they're going to do with that?
No idea.
Like, how are they going to get? I guess would be the AI kernel software that was downloaded into that freaking paperweight. How are they going to get that into?
I bet you they don't. I bet you if they do a sequel, that's not even the route they go.
They don't even.
It
mention.
won't be. It'll be like something like, it'll be like some I don't know. The cops show up or investigators show up, like they box up M3GAN, right? And then the chip somehow is salvaged and it gets put into another. Dude, come on, man. Right?
Oh, shit.
I
Like
mean, this is like
Terminator
Chucky
2.
all over.
It's all hermetically sealed in this glass thing. It's a Cyberdyne.
Cybertime.
You've been Cyberdyned.
I mean, dude, I get you. I guarantee you that's the route they go. Something like that. Absolutely, man. So. But I mean, I like the movie. I thought the movie was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I quite enjoyed. I mean, I've seen it 3 times now.
Yep.
I've enjoyed it.
I absolutely did too. I thought it was a good movie. Yeah. Now I don't know if I'd go for a 4th. But,
No, I think
why?
3 was good. You and I
Yeah.
saw it. Well, we saw it in the theater. Then I took my mom because my mom's into horror movies, and then you and I watched it just the other night for the episode.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't.
so-
I think I'm good for a bit.
Yeah,
but
like,
it's.
I think it'd
But
be
I would
quite a-
recommend it to someone. I think people would have a good time with it. Everyone I've talked to has liked it. They thought it was fun, and so yeah.
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 No, I thought it was good. It was definitely solid. I would recommend it.
Yeah. But that's M3GAN, y'all.
Yep.
All right, man. Anything else that we didn't? I think that was all.
Yeah. I don't know, for you aspiring parents out there, just roll up your sleeves and parent. don't give an AI doll to your kids.
Yeah.
Nothing good's
Yeah,
happening
maybe
from
limit
that.
the electronics.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Keep it away from your dogs.
So, anyways, well, thanks for coming out, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate it. Yeah, everyone who stuck around, we appreciate it. Everyone, take care. You listened all the way to the end. We appreciate that. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Ear for Fear Podcast, Twitter at Ear for Fear, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Ear for Fear Podcast. You can also check out our website, earforfear.com. There we list news and events. We're available on all the main platforms, so make sure you tell a friend. We hope you come back and get an earful.